Well, the whereabouts of Belarusian opposition figure Maria Kolesnikova are still unknown after she tore up her passport to resist being forced out of the country earlier today. Eyewitnesses in Minsk saw masked men force Kolesnikova into a vehicle on Monday, and this morning she appeared along Belarus's border with Ukraine. Kolesnikova has been a leading figure of the protest movement, calling for an end to President Alexander Lukashenko's 26-year rule. Several opposition leaders have already been jailed or fled the country amid Lukashenko's nationwide crackdown on protests. Belarusian officials say Kolesnikova was detained this morning after trying to cross into Ukraine with two other opposition colleagues. Well, those two men are now in Kiev, and they say the trio was forced to the border. But major questions remain over how they got there and what the Belarusian authorities have done with Maria Kolesnikova. Well, let's cross now to our social media news desk, where Alex has been following that side of the story.
Well, Isabella, caused a lot of discussion on Telegram, which is the app used really by a lot of these demonstrators. Now, when it came to this story, we've seen claims, counterclaims, and they've been swirling around. Perhaps that's been exasperated by the lack of any real knowledge about where Maria Kolesnikova is. Snatched on the street, trying to cross the border. The claims and the counterclaims have gone back and forth, depending on which side you listen to. Well, now we've heard from her two colleagues, members of the opposition council. That's Anton Rodnenkov and Ivan Kravtsov there. They spoke about what happened between the time that Maria Kolesnikova was effectively snatched from the street, according to eyewitnesses, and then her brief reappearance at the border before once again she's disappeared from public knowledge. Now, let's just bring you what we do know at this stage. A bit of a timeline for you here. Times and dates given to us by authorities and indeed spokespeople for Maria Kolesnikova. Well, first of all, 10 a.m. That is where her lawyer said in Minsk, the capital of Minsk, Maria Kolesnikova was snatched from the street. Eyewitnesses said masked men. Then we came down to 4 a.m. before we hear of anything about her once again. This coming from Belarusian authorities. Here at a border post, this is effectively a no man's land between Belarus and Ukraine. You can see it's a distance of 300 kilometers. It's no short trip. It's about a 5-hour drive, depending on the route you take. Now, when it came to why she'd made this journey, the president himself, in an interview with Russian media, had this to say.
Maria Kolesnikova and two others, either her companions or drivers or friends, were fleeing to Ukraine. The people in the car hit the gas, and she was apparently thrown out of the car as it was moving.
Well, far from being thrown out of the car as they tried to flee, when it came to her two colleagues who did make it across to Ukraine, they decided to make the journey. They said that Maria Kolesnikova was forced into the back of the car. And they said that it was actually in this period between the border post in Belarus and the Ukraine border that Maria Kolesnikova tore up her passport and threw it out. This is what they said at a press conference.
When they put Maria into the car, so she turned her passport all over, so there was no legal possibility to go to Ukraine now. This is simple.
So she tore up her passport?
Yeah, she tore up the passport completely.
Right now, she don't have any passport?
Yeah, she climbed from the car and she walked probably to Belarusian territory.
And their account is supported by a minister in Ukraine who said this was no voluntary trip. It was a violent expulsion attempting to undermine the opposition council. Isabel, I think it's fair to say what we know now is that these three individuals, it was an attempt to get them out of the country. Those two men did make it across to Ukraine, gave that press conference saying Maria Kolesnikova tore up her documents and walked back to Belarus. The Belarusian authorities have confirmed to Euronews that she has been detained. They will give us no further details about the location. And protests Tuesday night began in solidarity with her in Minsk.
OK, well, piecing together what we do know about Maria Kolesnikova's detention. Alex, thanks. Well, Maria Kolesnikova's lawyer, Ilya Saleh, joined us earlier from Minsk, and he said his team is still waiting for more information regarding her whereabouts.
We still have no idea where Maria is. The only official information that we received from Belarusian authorities is that she has been detained by Belarusian State Border Committee. But the whereabouts are still unknown. The officials of the State Border Committee are saying that in case any charges are put forward, then the lawyers would be contacted immediately. But still, we have no official information where Maria is.
Now, you must be very concerned about this detention, it seems. What are you doing to find out where she is?
So we have the official information of the State Border Committee, as we said, and today we have informed them that under Belarusian law and under Belarusian constitution, a detained person has a right for legal assistance, a right for a lawyer from the moment he or she was detained. But still, we have no information about where Maria is.
Do you have any idea, given that other members of the opposition are already in prison, what her treatment might be at the hands of those detaining her?
Maria is a very popular figure in Belarus right now, so we think that nothing bad is going to happen. She's just being isolated from people and being detained. And I think that nothing bad should happen with Maria because, as I've said yesterday, her safety is #1 priority for everyone.
OK, her safety is the #1 priority. Now, I can only assume you're speaking to members of the international community to try and help secure her release. What are they doing to try and support you?
I think all the global community supports Belarusian democracy and supports people who fight for their rights in Belarus. And we see numerous statements by EU officials, by American officials to stop repressions and to release all political prisoners, including, I guess, Maria Kolesnikova today.
Now, we heard today also from President Lukashenko, who said he wasn't leaving power, but did admit that maybe he'd been in power too long. He didn't recognize the Coordination Council, the Opposition Coordination Council. But do you think this might be a first step towards a potential transition of power?
It's difficult for me to comment on that, but we see that President Lukashenko tries to find compromises, or at least for his actions to look like compromises. But Coordination Committee has repeatedly said that they do represent the people in the country and they are supported by people. So I think that would be smart for President Lukashenko to start the dialogue with the Coordination Council. But still, as you've correctly said, he doesn't recognize them.